Welcome back, everyone. Addiction continues to be a growing crisis in our country. In 2020, there were more than 38 million people with some kind of substance abuse disorder in America, and those are just the ones we know about. This Wellness Wednesday, Mary Jo Horton is going to help us humanize people who are suffering with addiction, because, Mary Jo, I've noticed a lot of people use the word addict, and they use it with disgust and judgment.
Yes, and thank you for having this discussion with me. It is really a terrible shame how much people want to shame others in something they don't know and understand.
All right, so first we need people to realize addiction is, in fact, as I said earlier, a disorder, and it requires treatment.
Yeah, so the first thing we want to realize is that this is a disorder that affects your brain, affects your brain chemistry, your thinking, and is very much tied to a lot of other similarities of mental health disorders.
So, Mary Jo, I wanted to have this discussion today because I was downtown the other day and I was having a conversation with someone about homeless people. We have an issue going on right now in Savannah with that. And they said to me that many of them are addicts. And they said it like that, with disgust, with judgment, accusatory. And in my mind, that person is lacking compassion. And you say that compassion is key here, right?
Yeah, so think about that word, an addict. You are this thing.
Not a person who has an
Correct.
addiction. Yeah.
And so what that does is that is really pushing someone into shame.
Yeah.
And when people live in shame, they don't live in help, recovery, accountability, or becoming a vulnerable person moving forward.
So let's talk about compassion. You say compassion can actually change the way you think about it, right?
So when we think about what the underlying idea of compassion is, it's simply the idea that as human beings, we all give and receive pain at some point in our life. Nobody here is without the ability to do things in a way that is harmful.
No, yeah.
Compassion also means that we are all able to heal and we all deserve to be well.
And I like this second point we see on the screen there. Complete understanding. You do not need that to have compassion.
So, and I think that's so important. Somebody doesn't need to tell you their entire story for them to have a valid need to have compassion from you.
Yeah.
Compassion is simply, I'm a human being. And there's a lot of complex dynamics that go into addiction and why somebody suffers and how their life came to be the way it is. And we don't need to know them from cover to cover to give them compassion.
The state of being human, you deserve compassion just from that. Right?
We all have intrinsic value being a human being, and so with that means that we get to give each other compassion.
Okay, and so that last point on the screen, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
They're not victims, people who have addictions. They're not victims, they're not villains, but humans with a disorder. And I want to talk about that because, it can be difficult dealing with someone who has an addiction.
So absolutely. So notice that we're talking about intrinsic value as a human. That is much different than holding someone accountable for behavior. What I think is really great about compassion is it says, I believe in your ability to do well. I believe in your ability to heal. So with compassion is accountability. The other part that I really want people to understand, as a clinician in our world, we remind people that nobody is broken and we are not healers. What we remind people is that everybody has the ability to learn tools and skills to heal themselves, and that's what we all have in us.
Yeah.
We are not walking around with some of us whole and some of us broken.
Okay, say that again. Nobody is broken.
Nobody is broken.
Because you feel broken. There have been times where I have felt broken.
So, and I also want to remind people, plans fail, people do not.
Yeah.
So sometimes we have a plan for recovery and a plan for growth, and that plan doesn't work out.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean we failed. That plan did not work for us. And this goes back to this inherent idea of what is compassion. I am human, I'm working on it, I have value, and I see that and give that to others.
Okay, Mary Jo, as always, such a great discussion. Thank you for helping us try and humanize these people who are suffering with this disorder. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And if you want to watch this interview or any other Wellness Wednesday interviews, you can just go to WSAV.com/Wellness Wednesday.